morning, top of the 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 morning. Oh.
Friday is a certified hood classic. It aims to show you a snapshot of a neighborhood full of diverse characters, rich in personality. You have Pastor Clever, who is a literal representation of a man that does not practice what he preaches, providing commentary on scandalous individuals that use their good reputation as a veil to cover up the ugly within themselves. You have next door neighbor Stanley, who is a fish out of water, and as such is preyed upon by the very people that look just like him. You have Ezel, who is an opportunist with a cold. Although there are few things he won't do for money, he has ethics that are explored and known to us all. You see, Friday is a movie that is like a spider web of a story, multiple threads, all connected to one another in some way. Everyone could easily have their own story if the focus was on them. That's how full of life this neighborhood is. It doesn't feel like a stock backdrop. It feels like a slice of a wacky life these characters share. However, in this melting pot of a neighborhood, you are bound to run into the bad guy. Just as there cannot be light without darkness, there cannot be a hero without a villain. But what if I told you that the villains weren't just limited to Big Worm and Debo? What if I told you there was a pair missing, a duo that includes our protagonists, Craig and Smokey?
Huh?
Some might be confused, as I'm sure there are folks that believe a protagonist can't be the villain, which is untrue. This misconception exists partially because people use villain and antagonist interchangeably. Simply put, villains are characters that do bad or evil shit, while on the other hand, antagonists are people who oppose the main character. So, not every villain is necessarily an antagonist, and not every antagonist is a villain. Quick example, look at a series like Dexter. The protagonist is a serial killer, so he be the villain, and although in media the police generally are the good guys, and this is only in fiction people cause we know, but in the series Dexter, they be the antagonist. It's not the perfect explanation, and I'm glossing over the gray areas that give birth to the classifications like anti-heroes, but you should understand my point. Now, what is the ultimate goal of Craig and Smokey? Earn $200 in order to not get smoked by a nigga wearing a perm. That's understandable, right? Niggas don't like dying. So Craig and Smokey's goal in the movie isn't malicious in nature. They aren't like Debo, who is going around mugging niggas for sport, but I think this truth has given birth to a lie. Craig and Smokey aren't characters to root for, no matter how much that narrative is pushed. I'll talk about Craig and Smokey individually, but first I had to say these two niggas were the cause of both major conflicts in Friday. One, Big Worm attempting to recuperate the money he lost from Smokey, who lit his shit up like a Christmas tree. Two, the final fight between Craig and Debo, and I'll get into a more detailed reason as to how that shit happened. Just know they were not innocent bystanders that were just thrust into unfortunate circumstances. Craig and Smokey were the catalyst for both of the main issues in the movie. Ooh, let's start with this nigga Craig. I'm on your ass. Now, let me say outright, I don't think the movie ever tried to portray Craig as a saint, but I do feel he's framed as someone in the right. Craig is the hero that took down Debo, who was the neighborhood bully that no one dared to stand up to. But who was Craig really before that fight? Let's start from the beginning. In one of Craig's very first scenes in the movie, he slams the door in the face of two Jehovah's Witnesses. If you've dealt with Jehovah's Witnesses, some of them can be invasive, persistent, and flat out annoying as hell, ironically. They just be spawning at the most inconvenient times and will stay posted by your door like they know you in that motherfucker. But still, answering the door and then slamming it in their faces? Come on, bro. You could have just told them that you weren't interested. Why you gotta be an asshole? But whatever. It was just a one-time thing, right? Right?
Let you use
Craig.
Damn, look.
Telephone.
Now, what do we have here? Felicia asks to use Craig's microwave and he responds by hitting her with a Derrick Henry stiff arm? Again, does Craig know he could just say no and keep it pushing? You ain't gotta mush her ass like that. Like, what happened to, that's a female? And all of that because she asked to borrow your microwave, bro. And yeah, I know asking someone to lend you their microwave is top 7 most stupidest things you could ask, but it ain't even your shit to begin with now that I think about it. And Craig's disrespect is aimed at his own family too. No family is perfect, but you think a man living with both his parents would be a little more, I don't know, graceful? He be slamming doors, yelling like a kid, smoking weed on the porch, doesn't do chores, and other questionable shit. Remember Willie's iconic speech in the kitchen? You know what I'm talking about.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen, eating up all the food. You ate my dinner, my mashed potatoes, that good old gravy I like, and them biscuits I can sop that gravy in. You ate all of that. I'm hiding my grapes. You gonna eat up all my grapes.
In Willie's rant, he reveals that he has to hide his food because Craig's fat ass eats it up. Imagine you being a grown ass man that has to hide your own shit because your son eats everything in sight like he Kirby. On top of that, this nigga Craig is ungrateful. Remember when his pops asked him to get a glass of water after a hard day's work? It was the same day where a dog ate his ass like a cheesecake. Alright, nah, they gobble his shit up like the Alaskan bullworm did the boy in SpongeBob. So imagine after a day like that, you just want to chill and take it easy, right? Unfortunately, Craig had other plans. He goes to pour the glass of water, drops an ice cube, which I guess is supposed to be symbolic or something because, you know, ice cube, dropping an ice cube. I don't know. But yeah, he drops the ice, ponders a bit, and decides, I'ma drop this dirty ass ice cube in the glass. That'll show him. Like, nigga, what? Nigga, you're 35. How you still get a satisfaction out of this as a grown man? You feel proud of yourself? You feel like a big shot? I know Willie isn't a perfect father and a dirty ice cube isn't going to kill him, but
Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig.
your dad takes care of you, even tried to hook you up with a job, and you treat him like shit because he chewed you out? For shame. To add insult to injury, Craig is a cheater. Now, I know what some people may bring up to defend Craig, because if you look at the first scene of Joy on the phone with Craig, there might have been a man in the bed, but that could have been a bird or a plane. It could have been anything. Regardless, that's only relevant to Joy's side of things, because on Craig's side, he didn't know this, yet the whole movie he's trying to holler at Debbie. And this nigga is fiending. At the start of the movie, he wakes up his sister just so she can hook him up with Debbie. He didn't nod, didn't brush his teeth, nothing. The man woke up plotting to cheat like the scumbag he is. And again, regardless of Joy possibly cheating, she was at one point going to front Craig the $200 until she thought that Craig was fucking with Felicia, which is more than what Craig can say about his own family, which I'll get into more later. Bottom line, he didn't have any business trying to holler at Debbie, and him ending off his art by calling Joy a biatch was unsightly and frankly uncalled for. After hearing that, I think those scenes I talked about at the very least establish that Craig is not a nice person. But I'm gonna go a step further. Craig has also shown sociopathic tendencies. People might be like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? Brother, I got you. Don't even worry about it. Let's go to Exhibit A in a scene I like to call This Nigga a Serial Killer. I don't ever see people talk about this scene, but it was the first sign, at least to me, that Craig had a screw loose. So, Buddy Boy pours himself a bowl of Captain Crunch in his big bowl. Already a red flag. First, why is this nigga willingly eating Captain Crunch? My bad. I did not mean to offend the Captain Crunch niggas. If you eat it, you're not crazy, alright? I'm not a big fan of it, but it is what it is. But for real, why the fuck is he using this big ass Grand Canyon crater bowl? This is the type of bowl you use to thaw out chicken. I ain't never seen someone eat out of a bowl that big. That must be some Cali shit. I don't know. While the quadruple XL bowl bothers me, so far nothing too crazy, right? But right here, when he goes for the milk, that's when all hell breaks loose. Craig digs in the fridge, grabs a carton of milk, and pours it into the bowl, only to see that he doesn't have enough milk to drown his cereal in. And with that big ass bowl, you need a whole cow. At this point, some people may say, okay, so what's the problem? First, the bowl size. Second, the amount of cereal he poured. Like, bruh even dunked that joint for the one time. Then he grabbed the milk, and at no point did he realize, hey yo, this ain't enough. Not only that, the bastard looks inside the carton as if the milk is playing hide and seek, and then he caps it off by slapping the bottom of the carton like a fresh pack of Newports. Who in their right mind can't tell there isn't enough milk for a bowl of cereal that big immediately upon grabbing the carton? Who in their right mind looks inside of a milk carton for more milk, and who the fuck taps the bottom of it like it's some extra milk in there? It's not toothpaste, my nigga. When it's gone, it's gone. But wait, people, there's more. I point you to Exhibit B.
Better watch your window, you climbing that fool, before you get blasted on.
With what? You ain't got nothing, man?
With this.
Now, I'm not going to front. Craig had a point about telling Smokey to stop playing like that before he gets blasted on. It doesn't matter if it's your homeboy. A situation like that could have ended with someone dead, but that's just on Smokey. The issue is Craig already knew it was Smokey, told him off, and then put the burner to his face. Like, huh? Smokey fucking around was bad enough, but what kind of a nigga points a loaded gun at your head like it's a Chief Keef video? And what makes it worse is what Craig said later in the movie. When Smokey wasn't taking Bitworm seriously, Craig pointed out he had a gun when Smokey saw him and said,
You say he had a gun when you seen him, right? Yeah. But name one person in the hood that play like that.
Evidently you, Craig. You are the person in the hood that plays like that. I can rewind it if you need to see it. And that's not the only time Craig contradicted himself. I'm jumping ahead to a standoff with Debo. This last fight really showed me Craig's true colors, but let's talk about the cap Craig spewed. Before Craig ended up fighting Debo, he tried to leave the house with the blicky before Pop stopped him. Pops then gives another iconic speech where he says,
You win some, you lose some. But you live to fight another day. You think you're a man with that gun in your hand, don't you?
And Craig responds,
I'm a man without it.
Fast forward to the fight, and the very first fucking thing Craig does after shoving Debo is pull out the gun. Now, people will say, nah, you can't say that. He put the gun down and he fought like man. Yeah, okay.
Hey, punk.
Boy came into the fight without honor and left the fight without honor. Sure, he ain't use a gun, but damn, he used everything else. I thought this nigga was the hood Gilgamesh with all the weapons he pulled. Nigga had a 2x4, a brick, a trash can. Like, god damn, didn't your daddy say all he needed back in the day was his hands, not bricks? And what makes it worse is that Debo, the fucking villain, fought with honor. And yeah, that's easy to do when you 6'5", 280 pounds, but Debo had a knife at one point and said, fuck that, let's run hands. But Craig said, fuck that, let's run guns. And I want people to really understand why Craig came to fight Debo and why I say he's not a hero. Debbie called out Debo for beating up on her sister Felicia, and as you can see, he fucked her up bad. The issue is, no one except Debbie gave a fuck. It was only until Debo slapped the sonic rings out of Debbie that Craig wanted to act like a good person, talking about some,
Man, that's a female.
so is Felicia, nigga, but you only wanted to fight when it was the girl you wanted to smash that got hurt. Inconsistent morals, man. And as a side note, has anyone noticed that Debo and Craig were wearing a similar looking flannel shirt? I feel like that was supposed to show some parallel between them because, you know, they both villains, low key. I can see it. And there are other examples like Craig being a little too delighted to jump a minor and him staying home knowing that Bitworm put a target on his back, which is going to put his family in danger, which leads me to believe that he did steal those boxes on his day off. That's right, I said it. Mind you, his job apparently had him on camera, so I don't know how you mistake Craig for someone else, so I think he actually did that shit. I'm not sure what he was going to do with a stolo box. Maybe he was going to build a fort like Smokey said, or maybe he was going to use it as a bowl for his insatiable hunger for Captain Crunch. I don't know, but yeah, he stole those boxes. Now, Smokey? Bro, as I watch it Friday taking notes for this video, no bullshit. Mostly everything I'm writing about was originally about Craig, but 30 minutes in, all of the writing went towards Smokey. There is so much this nigga did, but let's get into it. First things first, Smokey is a pathological liar. All he does is lie. He lies about not smoking Bitworm's weed up. He lies about stepping into Stanley's yard. He lies about taking a shit in his yard. He lies to Bitworm about having his money. He lies about calling back Rita, aka Janet Jackson, and he lies about going to rehab. While half of these lies are to protect himself, the other half is Smokey lying just to lie. For real, why would you lie about going to rehab? If you're not selling Bitworm shit, why would he care about what you're doing? This doesn't protect you in any way. Like I said, Smokey be lying for sport. And if that wasn't bad enough, Smokey is a snake. Let's start off light, then we'll progress into the more egregious shit. So, after Craig's pops comes back home and told Craig and Smokey to go outside, rightfully so because it's his house, as Smokey leaves, he has one simple request: don't slam my door. To which Smokey responds by slamming his door intentionally. And sure, this seems minor, but you think that as a guest at your boy's house, you respect the rules, especially in a black household. But Smokey is a disrespectful dude. Let's keep it going though. How about towards the end when Smokey robbed Debo for the $200? Now, don't get me wrong, considering the situation Smokey and Craig were in, stealing the money isn't that big of a deal, but the audacity of Smokey to say,
Give me my goddamn money. The payback's a motherfucker, ain't it, nigga?
is where he crosses the line. Remember, Smokey and Debo ran into Stanley's crib for that money, and according to Debo, Smokey was too scared to touch anything, so he didn't give him a cut at all. Not that I think Debo was going to give him a cut either way, but the point still stands. Smokey didn't do anything to say, give me my money. Nigga, that's Debo shit, and really, that's Stanley shit. And Smokey never got any comeuppance from this either. Let's keep going. So, Joy goes over to Craig's pop's house to see Craig, but when she pulls up, Craig is inside the house with Debbie, which is a bad look. Smokey is on the porch. So before Joy sees Craig, he has the opportunity to run interference, warn him his girl is here, or go the snake route. Smokey lets the situation play out, knowing that Joy would spaz out on Craig for being in the house alone with another woman, and honestly, that's some hating ass shit. Fellas, I'm not saying that you're obligated to look the other way or cover for your homeboy while they're cheating. This is specifically for Smokey, who prior to this moment tried to hook Debbie up with Craig knowing he had a girlfriend. And Craig wasn't even being slimy here, but again, it was a bad look, and by the smirk on Smokey's face, he knew it too and didn't care to prevent it. Let's keep going. If you notice in a flashback of Smokey shooting dice with Debo, you'll see a familiar face. The little dude is Little Chris, who is known for knocking over the trash cans in the neighborhood, specifically Craig's. So it's a snake move on two fronts. For one, he's hanging out with Craig's ops, and two, let's say he's cool with Little Chris. Later in the movie, he and Craig chase him down on some LeBron Game 7 shit and beat his ass. So what the fuck? And staying in the same flashback, after Debo knocks out Red, Smokey says his iconic line,
You got knocked the fuck out.
at the expense of Red. Now, it doesn't seem like Red and Smokey are best friends, but they are cool enough for him to go over to Craig's pop's crib and chill with him. So it's kind of fucked up that Smokey would celebrate someone he fucks with getting knocked out, especially since Debo of all people is doing it. Let's keep going. I never noticed this until I rewatched Friday for this video, and I've watched Friday over a dozen times, but did y'all catch Smokey low-key trying to holler at Craig's mom? Admittedly, this may be a reach, but I'm gonna put everything in context so you can see where I'm coming from. So, when Smokey sees Craig's mom, he says this.
Hi, Miss Jones.
And see, already it seemed to me at least like Smokey was saying hi in a flirty tone of manner, but here's what makes it worse. Smokey has been proven to be attracted to older women in Friday, and I'm talking old enough for their kids to be adults. Think about it. He was flirting with Miss Parker, which is understandable, but remember how he was talking about Felicia and Debbie's mama?
Her mama got ass too. She'll be wanting to marry a nigga.
Poor mama.
Yeah. Older the berry, the sweeter the juice. Older the berry, the sweeter the juice.
And even if you think that's just a stretch, Smokey definitely was trying to talk to Craig's sister, which some people don't have a problem with and some people do. All I know is I'm definitely having issues with Smokey talking to my sister, considering it's Smokey. Now, This last part is what I've been waiting to talk about. It's why I think Smokey being a villain is undeniable. Allow me to reiterate the two major conflicts of Friday. Number one, paying Big Worm back, and number two, the fight with Debo. Guess who's the centerpiece of both of those conflicts? That's right, people. Smokey started all of this. Let's start with Big Worm. Throughout Friday, we constantly see Smokey living up to his name, but the reality of the situation is he was lighting up Big Worm's shit. What did Biggie tell y'all niggas? It's rule number 4 of the 10 crack commandments.
Know you heard this before. Never get high on your own supply.
And what makes it worse is that Smokey isn't even smoking off his own supply. He's smoking the plug shit when he's just the dealer. So before the movie even began, Smokey was digging himself a grave. However, it did not stop there. Misery loves company, so Smokey decided to bring Craig down with him. Smokey preyed on Craig's vulnerability by offering him a joint. Craig told him he doesn't smoke, but Smokey kept insisting, and finally, Craig caved in. Now, Craig just lost his job, so it's understandable that he smoked for the one time to ease his stress. And if Smokey offered a joint with his own weed, I wouldn't really have a problem, but again, it was Big Worm shit. Smokey never mentioned this to Craig, so unbeknownst to him, he was falling into a pit with Smokey. But that ain't even the worst part. Even though Craig smoked Big Worm shit, Big Worm didn't know that until Smokey snitched on himself and Craig. Now this is what truly set the movie off, because Smokey was super playful about not having Big Worm's money. One thing you do not play with is niggas' money and niggas' pride. And Smokey did both in one convo, and Craig was guilty by association. So Smokey is the one who painted a target on both him and Craig's back. And mind you, it's not like Big Worm being violent over money is news to Craig. Craig even told him that he smoked the nigga for $50. So of course he go crazy over $200. Big Worm went overboard by having a goon shoot up the entire block. But at the end of the day, none of that would have happened if Smokey paid him what he was owed. Now for the second conflict, Debo. So why did Debo and Craig fight? Well, it was a chain of events. Debo fucked up Felicia, Debbie called Debo out, Debo spat Debbie, and Craig's simp ass decided to do something. That's the sequence of events. But why did Debo fuck up Felicia? Debo was sleeping with Felicia that night and later accused Felicia of running through his pockets, which she didn't do, but someone did, and that person is Smokey. Smokey tried to rob Debo for the $200 that they robbed Stanley for, and in doing that, set Felicia up to take the fall. From Debo's perspective, he's sleeping with a woman known for begging. He's not crazy for thinking she ran in his pockets when someone actually did. His first thought is going to be, the woman next to me tried to rob me in my sleep, not two niggas broke in the window and tried to finesse me. Now, was Debo wrong for beating Felicia? Of course, but it happened as a direct result of Smokey, and he never had to face any retribution for starting that conflict. I think I laid out my reasons for why I think Craig and Smokey are villains well, but I want to get into the origin of it all. What turned these niggas into monsters? Well, for Craig at least, it starts with his family. The Jones are a family of bad people, so it's no wonder why Craig ended up the way he did. Don't believe me? Let's start with this mama.
Where your mom at, nigga?
So, in one of Miss Jones' first scenes, Craig asks if his mom told his dad that he got fired, to which she replies,
"You know I wouldn't tell on my baby."
But then it turns out Pops knows all about Craig losing his job. So why did she blatantly lie to this nigga? Was she just trolling or something? I don't get it. And then later, Miss Jones sees Miss Parker and greets her, and Miss Parker greets her back and tells her to call her later. But in all of that, you can tell Miss Jones is being super fake and she doesn't really like Miss Parker. That's fine, but she was the one who started the conversation. She didn't run into her and Miss Parker didn't initiate their talk. So why was she being a dick to Miss Parker when she struck up the conversation? It's weird. She an asshole. And now Pops. Jesus Christ. Let's just talk about how aggressive he was trying to get Craig a job. I have no issue with him trying to look out for Craig, but this nigga was going crazy roasting Craig when he's only been out of work for a single day. Like, damn, it hasn't been a month or anything. Like, let Craig breathe a little, but whatever, that's not too crazy. What is crazy is how much Pops likes beating up dogs. Craig's dad is a dog catcher, and maybe you had to be a little crazy to have that job, but Pops enjoys that shit. He has fun sadistically whooping up on dogs.
All day long, I put up a dog's ass. Just bang, bang, bang up his ass. That's my pleasure.
And that's probably why Craig loves beating up minors. And just like his son, Pop's take on cereal is borderline insane. Listen, I don't care how poor or down bad you are, if you suggest to someone or you yourself decide to pour water on cereal, you need to be in an all-white padded room, arms crossed, snug, in a straitjacket. There is no way in hell that's acceptable. If you don't have milk but you want to eat cereal, eat the motherfucker dry. Pouring water on it is only going to kill the flavor and make it soggy. So the fact that Pop seriously recommended this makes me believe that he needs to be evaluated. And I definitely had to mention the 2 times Craig was forced to stand in the bathroom with Pops while he was
Pooping.
Now, before I said your house, your rules, but this is so unnecessary. There is nothing urgent enough for you to make your grown ass son smell your shit while you berate him. It's gross, it's disgusting, it's deplorable, it's evil. Now, this last one is shared by everyone in the family, and it's one of the most fucked up things that happened in the movie. So, Craig is desperate for money and time is running out as Big Worm's goons are approaching. Craig begs his family for money and every single one of them blows him off. Craig's sister laughs at him, his mom trolls him, and his pop says,
Big worm, big hole, big, I don't give a damn.
And it's crazy because he explained the situation to them, and $200 wasn't a crazy amount to loan to him, even for that time, considering his life was on the line. But no one gave a fuck. They turned their backs on him and left him out to die. Pops even kicked Smokey and Craig out of the house after Craig told him that Big Worm was after him. That's just wild. Now, as to why Smokey is so fucked up, it's probably drugs frying his brain. He did do PCP in a flashback with Hector, so maybe a combination of drugs permanently impaired his mind. I don't know. What I do know is that I'm not letting Craig and Smokey off the hook. They might be the main characters, but they are also Friday's villains. Villains. So before I head out, I want to say rest in peace to these actors and actresses in Friday, because minor character or not, these people play an important role in our childhood, because I don't really know anybody around my age and race that has not watched Friday, all right? So I want to show them love and appreciation. So rest in peace to Michael Clark Duncan, who I don't think he had a name in the movie, but he was gambling with Smokey, Debo, and Little Chris in the flashback where Red got knocked out. Rest in peace to Ronaldo Ray, who played Red's father. Rest in peace to Yvette Wilson, who was Janet Jackson or Rita. Rest in peace to LaWanda Page, who was one of the Jehovah's Witnesses in the very beginning of the movie. Rest in peace to Bernie Mac, who was Pastor Clever. Rest in peace to John Witherspoon, Pops of course. Rest in peace to Tiny Lister Jr., Debo. Rest in peace to Anthony Johnson, Ezell. Yeah, so I wanted to highlight them because, like I said, minor character or not, they deserve appreciation because they were integral in this movie. All right. I also want to give a big shout out to Prim's Hood Cinema, because I had this idea for a video for at least a year, but I didn't get to working on it until this last month. The reason I got back into it and my passion was rekindled is because I was watching Prim's Hood Cinema, who talks about a lot of hood movies, and that's a funny channel. So if you are not subscribed to that channel, if you haven't checked it out, check out his channel. I watched some of his videos and I got back to thinking, I really need to make this video. All right, I gotta do it. So yeah, shout out to him. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much it for the video. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all watching. It has been Satsuki the Savage, and I am out.
Tasting your soul, you're not in control, just giving you goals. Scared of your past, the future is closed. The start is the end is a start. They both are the same, can't tell them apart. Nigga, that's cuz the intro is the outro.